Some of the answers to depression, anxiety, autism, and trauma weren't just about talk therapy or medication, but how the brain itself is functioning. In today's episode, Kelley Jensen shares how non-invasive brain stimulation changed her son's life, which we've probably never heard of this, and why more people haven't heard about it, and how her company is working to responsibly expand access to science-backed brain-based care, which is wow, an interesting topic for a bunch of entrepreneurs who are looking to grow their businesses, but sometimes we need a checkup from the neck up. So
Absolutely.
welcome to the Lead Machine Growth Show. I'm Paul Guyon, your host, lead machine coach, and the founder of the Lead Machine Marketing Group and Mastermind. I'm dedicated to helping you tackle your tech, master your message, and design your dream life. So whether you're just starting out or you want to take your business and life to the next level, let's get this awesome conversation underway. So, Kelley Jensen started her journey when she looked into treatment options for her autistic son and found transcranial magnetic stimulation, aka TMS, a non invasive brain stimulation method backed by decades of research. So, it improved her son's daily life and family dynamics, leading her to create her brain performance technology company. Now she's an advocate for brain stimulation therapies and mental health and raises awareness for her company and her podcast, Refrigerator Moms. And we were talking about how she should have a refrigerator magnet, or maybe even a refrigerator behind her when she's on her podcast. She's supporting those with depression, anxiety, OCD, autism, and a number of different veterans who and first responders too, who all have had trauma. So many, like we were talking before the show, many of us entrepreneurs are focusing on how can we improve performance. And mental health is important for us because sometimes we get lonely because being an entrepreneur can be a lonely endeavor. Of course, mental health is important to all of us, no matter if we're in business or if our families and our work. Let's get this thing underway. Welcome to the show. It's so nice. We were talking for about 15 or 20 minutes. I think I should have recorded the first little bit of riff we were going on. But what the heck is brain stimulation, this TMS stuff that it sounds intimidating? In simple
It,
terms,
it
what
does.
is it?
Thank you. First
Yeah.
of all, thank you for having me on. Brain stimulation, transcranial magnetic stimulation, is a non-invasive, drug-free method of stimulating the brain so that it reconnects. So parts of the brain are not speaking to each other. Brain waves are out of sync, but we have four major brain waves that run our brains, and therefore run our bodies. Your brain is your computer. And genetics, trauma, depression, lots of things affect our brain's ability to function at its peak. And brain stimulation, transcranial magnetic stimulation, is a way to improve your brain's plasticity and have your neurons reconnecting. It is administered by a doctor. It is a class 2 medical device. It was
Hmm.
FDA approved for depression in 2008 and received insurance coverage in 2013 for those ages 18 and up diagnosed with depression. It is also FDA approved
Hmm.
for OCD, migraines, and smoking cessation, believe it or not. You have to advocate a
Oh.
little bit harder for smoking cessation and migraines and OCD, but it is available. My suggestion for those conditions is to talk to an interventional psychiatrist. But it is still not widely prescribed, and a lot of people don't know about it. So I am talking to everybody that I know about it because it is a fascinating and important part of a complete mental health conversation. There is what's going on
Huh.
chemically in your brain, there is what is going on emotionally in your brain, and there is what's going on physically in your brain. And that is the brain care portion of a complete mental health treatment. And I hope I said that it's covered for depression. Depression is the most common condition to enjoy insurance coverage for.
Okay. And PTSD does that fall under depression or not?
That's a great question. PTSD is not covered yet. PTSD has a very promising
Hmm.
clinical trial that has been going on for the last 7 years that you can follow. You can follow along with brain performance technologies as we bring you information about it, because it has, I'm not allowed to talk about the marketing of it yet until it is approved, but it is undergoing clinical trials, and those you can follow as a matter of public record. But in the meantime, it's a misnomer that if you have PTSD that's all you have. It's probably some underlying depression accompanying the PTSD, or a lot of times they go hand in hand. So my suggestion for anybody that is struggling with PTSD is to talk to an interventional psychiatrist and have a full workup. Don't self-diagnose, because there may be some underlying depression that's worsening your PTSD symptoms, and you may be able to get treatment for your depression that may help your PTSD.
So how did you, I mentioned at the top of the show, how did you discover this? So tell us this personal story and how you took this journey down a rabbit hole, I assume, to discover this.
I did. Well, sure. Yeah. Mothers of autistic children are up all night, every night, not every night, but up all night, worried about their children and researching ways to intervene and help them. And I am no exception to that. And my son was 22 years old, and he had aged out of the school system, and he was really struggling with compulsions and OCD like behavior, OCD itself. He was developing a hoarding problem. He was getting scared to leave the house without having the car packed with random things from his room. First, it started, he had to bring books from his room. Then he had to bring clothes from his room. Pretty soon, he couldn't get in the car without emptying the contents of his room. And it was not sustainable. And I'm so worried about him. And I had him on all kinds of medications. None of them were working. So I said, forget autism. What about OCD? If he had OCD, if his diagnosis of OCD, what can I do other than the medications that I have him on that are not working? And I quickly found that transcranial magnetic stimulation is FDA approved for autism, or I'm sorry, for OCD. And I said, okay, what's this? Sounds promising. Can autistic people do TMS? Of course they can. Are there any providers in my area that work with autistic people? Because the treatment involves a magnet on your forehead. So, that's going to be weird to an autistic young man. And I wanted somebody that was comfortable with autistic people. And I found a doctor who did a specific type of TMS protocol called MERC, magnetic e-resonance therapy, popular with many people who have autism. And there was one doctor in our area. So I said, that's it. I'm bringing him. The treatment is 5 days a week for 6 weeks. And the intervention was incredibly successful. He did fantastic. It stopped the hoarding. It stopped the compulsions. And ironically, he started speaking more clearly and much more enunciation and with much more purpose and much more boldly. And it was not something that I didn't do the treatment because I wanted him to speak more, but it had the effect of him speaking more. My husband and I were really, truly grateful. And that kind of started me on this journey.
Wow. And so how does brain health affect talk therapy and medication? Does this work alongside of this, or how does that work?
That's a great question. The answer is absolutely. It works alongside all of it. The first thing is sleep, right? So when you're sleeping better, you function better. So brain care resets circadian rhythms, helps you sleep better. And once you're sleeping better, you can naturally think more clearly. And then that helps the progress of your psychotherapies or your talk therapies or whatever you are doing for self-actualization and for better habits, right? So that's the first thing, is it improves sleep. It definitely lifts the veil of depression. A lot of people who have depression struggle with treatment-resistant depression. So the medications that they are prescribed for their depression don't work, or they work for a little while and then they stop working, and or the side effects are too much. So they can't keep taking their antidepressants. So brain stimulation can be an alternative to antidepressants. It can help lower the dosage of necessary antidepressants. All three are appropriate. All three should be explored, in my opinion. And everybody has access to all three. They just don't necessarily know it.
Why don't we know about this? What's the deal? Is it just so unconventional, or the marketing, or
Well,
what is it?
Paul, you're a marketing guy, so I think you will understand this. Neuroscientists are not great at marketing, are they? The way
No.
that the FDA approval process is just really the start, right? So if it's a drug or a device or a intervention, surgery type, it does rigorous testing, right, for each condition. And TMS has to be studied for each condition, has to be studied for depression, has to be studied for PTSD. It has to be, and as we all should, applaud rigorous testing to make sure that the treatments are safe. Once that's done, the process from FDA approval to insurance coverage is a whole other game. And a lot of
Hmm.
times, the manufacturers of these devices just don't have the funds to push it through insurance carriers, and then from insurance carriers to doctors to do information about bringing this to their patients. And the insurance carriers require psychiatrists to prescribe it, and only 5 to 10% of psychiatrists prescribe it because there's a lot of reasons for that too. And we can get into the weeds of psychiatry and the unavailability of psychiatry in many parts of the United States. So it's just a
No.
numbers thing, right? That it hasn't been promoted, but it has been around since 2008, and it has been sitting in your insurance plan since 2013.
Wow. And so it's not a big moneymaker, it sounds like. And maybe it could be.
I suppose it could be.
I
Yeah,
mean,
it's
there's
a
a
little
lot
bit
of
more labor
people.
intensive.
There's a lot of people with anxiety and depression and more autistic kids.
Yes.
We want to have healthy families. And I just,
And
you know,
medication has its place. Medication has side effects, and medication stops working. And we should all be open to things that are drug-free and non-invasive. I will tell you that TMS, there's the original TMS, there is the protocol that I did for my son called MERT. There is an even more advanced form of TMS called SAINT, Stanford Accelerated Intelligent Neuromodulation Therapy. It was developed and patented by Stanford University. It is a 1 week version of the 6 week treatment that my
uh-huh.
son did. It is incredibly effective for treatment-resistant depression. I want everybody to know about SAINT. It was approved or FDA cleared in 2022. It is just starting to clear the hurdle of insurance coverage. So insurance coverage is spotty, but Stanford licenses the protocol through a company called Magnus Medical, and they are doing everything they can to bring it to patients across the country. And you can find it now. Oh, we have it at our clinic. Stanford is just up the road from our clinic. Obviously, they have it at Stanford. They have it at a lot of teaching hospitals across the country. So if you're interested in the accelerated version of TMS, my suggestion is to go to Magnus Medical's website for a provider. And you might only have a teaching hospital in your area, or you might be traveling for it. But again, it's a 1 week treatment, so it's a little bit more manageable for people, right? Because if you're in an area
Yeah.
of the country that doesn't have access to TMS, you can do a week, right? You can take a week off work and concentrate and focus on your mental health.
Yeah. Yeah. So we mentioned veterans and first responders. Why are they key parts of your work? And also, who do you focus on working with besides autistic
So
kids?
that, sure, yes. The treatment is not covered for autism. So the work we do with autistic kids, unfortunately, is not covered by insurance unless the teen has a comorbidity of depression. So TMS is covered by teens 15 and up with depression. So if you have an
Mm.
autistic child that also struggles with depression, I encourage you to investigate TMS for them to help their symptoms. But after we had such a great response from my son, my husband and I really felt strongly about getting involved. And we called the doctor who treated my son and asked him how we could help him scale access to care for people. And at the time, we were just thinking of other autistic families that struggle with autism. And he said, we went back and forth, and I was going to just speak to moms for him. And then he said, I really would love to treat veterans, people who have served, first responders, and I don't know how to reach them. I'm a doctor. I don't know anything about marketing. I don't know anything about payroll. I hate doing administrative. I hate it all. Is there some way we can join forces? And it took us a while to map out how we would be of service for him. So we are a medical service organization, and we do all of his marketing and administration. And one of the things he
Mm.
wanted us to introduce TMS to veterans and active duty members of the military. And so we did. And we are TRICARE providers. So people who have TRICARE as their insurance, which you have if you've been in the military, we are authorized
Mm.
to provide care for them. And
Mm.
that's how we serve that population. And it's very rewarding. I can't say enough about the work with veterans and people who have really been through a lot just in service to us all.
Yeah. Yeah, I have my brother and my father were both veterans. And
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know if my brother he wasn't in combat, but my dad was, but he didn't talk much about it. But
Well,
in
what's
World War
interesting
II.
is what I have learned. Some of our patients, they didn't necessarily see any combat, but the training exercises are very loud. The booms of training and that is can sometimes be multiple concussions over and over because it's so loud, and that can affect depression. Multiple concussions, TBI is one of the indications that again, you may not know you are struggling with depression, but it could be the result of a TBI,
What's TBI?
traumatic brain injury.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, and multiple concussions can lead to a traumatic brain injury.
I see. Yeah. I'm a drummer. I wonder if I have TMI.
You know what? Do you
TBI.
wear earphones when you drum?
I do.
Oh, you do? Okay. So you're probably okay then.
But I didn't for
Ah,
many years. I mean, I've been
yeah.
playing since all my life. Since 13, I've been playing it professionally, semi-professionionally. But yeah, I have tinnitus. You
Oh,
know,
do you?
ringing in my
Okay.
ear. Oh
Oh, you
yeah.
have a ringing in
Yeah.
your ear. So then that is from that's yeah, you might want to, yeah. But do you sleep well? Oh,
No,
okay.
I have, they call it REM disorder, REM sleep
Uh-huh.
disorder.
Okay.
And it's funny though, I put a rosary under my pillow.
Uh-huh.
I'm a faithful man. And my wife and I switch sides, and she sleeps on between the comforter and the top sheet, and I sleep under the sheet. And I kick the other way. So we're managing it.
Okay.
But I'm taking medication for it, which I don't like. And
Well, you might look
but
into,
anyway,
yeah, you might look into it. It might help
yeah.
reset your circadian rhythms. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, well,
And
I'm
it
all
might
about
be some,
rhythm.
oh yeah,
Yeah, and it might what? I cut you off.
it might be some residual TBI from the loud music over all those years.
Could
Again,
be. I
I'm
was,
not a doctor, but I encourage everybody to go see a neurologist or a psychiatrist about this stuff. Brain care.
yep, I'm seeing a neurologist. By the way, I had an Ozzy Osbourne tribute band, and it was fabulous. It was great because I'm a
Uh,
drummer, and every drummer he's ever had has been an amazing drummer. So it was really a challenge to learn how to play all those songs, and we knew a lot of them. So God rest his soul.
that's amazing. That is
But
amazing. Good for you.
yeah. Anyways,
That's awesome.
little bit of a sidebar. So, what haven't I asked you so far that you want people to know about? More questions too for you.
I have this for anybody
Oh
that's
yeah.
curious and wants to know why they haven't heard it. This is a book that my writing partner Juliana and I, the Refrigerator Moms, we write papers. I'm not a big fan of people giving you their opinion without backing it up. I am clear that this is my opinion, but it should be informed. When I'm up in the middle of the night doing research because I'm worried about my son, I have citation
Hmm.
for OCD being approved for TMS being approved for OCDs. I wanted
Right.
everything in one place. So when we write a topic about autism, we cite our opinions so that you can follow along and you can do your own research and you can read for yourself. So in that spirit, this paper is called Start Me Up Non-Invasive Brain Stimulation for Mental Health. And I'm happy to send it to you or any of your listeners. You can, and again, there is citations. It talks about the different modalities of TMS and how to access them. And there are citations for when and how it was approved. And ask at 1BPT and I'll send it to you.
Ask it what?
One, the number one, B as in boy, P as in perfect, T as in Tom.com.
Okay.
BPT for Brain Performance Technologies.
Okay. Gotcha. That's an email address. Ask.
That's an
Okay.
email. Yes,
Gotcha.
you can email
All
me at
right.
that address and I will send you a copy of Start Me Up and you can follow it for yourself.
Awesome. That'd be great. So tell me about the business and the marketing side. You said you were able to reach veterans and first responders. I imagine you started locally, but how did you implement that and what were some of your aha moments and maybe some of that journey would be helpful.
Yeah, Paul, you're a marketing guru, so you know that it's not an easy project to tell people about something that they don't know anything about, especially if it's something so sensitive as their mental health. So it hasn't been easy.
Yeah,
It's been a
yeah.
series of trial and errors. I'm a big believer in getting in front of people. So we go to lots of fairs and veteran events with good information. People, it's hard to explain to people, right? So I have lots of pictures of the machines. I try to bring the machines if I go to a health fair so that people can actually see what the heck I'm talking about. So there was a lot of that and a lot of reaching out via social media to first responders and veterans groups that are there for support. And then some advertising, some social media advertising, some Google ads and the bit. And we have a clinic here in San Jose. We have a clinic in Sacramento that is right by the Air Force Base in Sacramento. And then we have a clinic in Las
Mm,
Vegas that is very close to the Air Force Base there. And that
wow.
proximity lets us talk to people, right? We talk to those who have served and we talk to their families and their spouses. And it's about telling people this. It's a pretty cool thing. And everybody, when
It
they
is
hear about
cool.
it and everybody, when they see the machine, thinks it's really cool. So once I get in front of you and I tell you that you should try this, it's a perfectly logical thing. And it's been very rewarding. You got to pound the pavement and tell people you're there.
Yeah. What about, I imagine that people I know that people who suffer from these different uh, ailments, depression, etc., OCD, they have certain problems that they want to solve. And I would imagine that
Yes.
there's you probably could make a database of those things and write about them. You're probably already doing that. But I think that's a good way to say instead of selling a bottle, this bottle keeps my water cold. I don't know if you could see my bottle when I held it up. When this bottle keeps my water cold or my liquid
Yeah.
warm for 24 hours. Now that's a problem I want to solve, and it's easy to drink from because it has a straw. So
Right.
while I'm playing the drums, I can open it real quick and drink and put it down and
Yeah.
almost, immediately in between songs. I don't do it while I'm playing. But those are some of the
Nice.
things that come to mind that, gosh, I imagine you have run into lots of things
Uh,
that feel stuck about and helpless. Yeah.
Well, to be honest with you, the word brain care, the phrase brain care resonates. Who, because they know they might not understand what TMS is yet. They're still, but they know that they have
Yeah.
had a lot of traumatic brain injury. They know that thoughts are enumerating in their head. They know they're not sleeping, and they also have seen a lot of suicides.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, the veteran population has seen too much suicide. So
Yeah.
self-preservation, being proactive, the idea that your brain, if you get your brain healthy, that you'll have the energy to do the hard work of building new habits and talking to loved ones and better communication techniques and all of the things that psychotherapy and a great therapist can help you bring to life for yourself. They want all those things.
Mhm.
It's just that they are stuck in, "Oh, I'm exhausted, I can't sleep." And telling them that there's brain care for them resonates. And then
Huh.
they're also really great about talking to each other about it. They
Hmm.
are the patients that have come through our clinics want all of their brethren to know about it. So that
Yeah.
has helped quite a bit.
And sometimes you feel so stuck. The more isolated you become, or it's like my son Elijah, he doesn't want to leave the house. He does go out on his own.
Mm.
He loves hunting. He loves his Native
Mm.
American culture. And he even speaks Ojibwe, the Native American, his
Wow.
American language. Uh, but he doesn't like when I invite him to come over or to do something, to go out to dinner, to come to an event. He just does not want to do it, and he's
Yeah.
incommunicado. It's hard to communicate with him, but he's very articulate,
Yeah.
very smart. He's creative. He does all kinds of things, but he's stuck.
Mm.
Fortunately, he lives
Do
with his
something
mom,
different.
and
That,
yeah,
yeah.
Ahead.
What I always suggest to people is try something different. That's what I was doing for my son. Try something different. What else is out there? Be curious, get curious. And it's hard when you're feeling depressed. And again, don't self-diagnose. Don't assume it's just PTSD. Don't assume you just can't sleep. Find somebody you can talk to and walk through these diagnoses with, because depression can be like that. It can just keep you stuck. And you don't know that you're depressed. You think everybody has a certain view, a certain, I don't know, thing that they think depression is, and that's not what they have. But it might be a portion of what they have. It might be a reason why they are having a hard time trying new things.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, what about grief? We talked a little bit about that before we started taping. What about grief? Is
Sure.
that something that we can talk about?
Some depression is situational. Sometimes you find yourself dealing with the death of a loved one, and that is a horrible situation. And so you're racked with grief over it. And that really lends itself to what coping mechanisms do you have in place for yourself? What do you turn to? What habits do you have? Or if you're a person of faith, you might turn to your spirituality, and it might help you through all those times. Some people don't have that system, right? So then a situation, a depressional situation can turn into a chronic depression. So again, it's why it's important to find somebody to talk to first. And even if a formal therapy or a psychiatrist is a little bit too much of a bridge for you, I always encourage people to start with somebody that you really respect, that you can just have a conversation with and ask them what they think. If they think that you need to get some help, or if you're a member of a church, talk to your pastor. There's finding somebody to talk to opens you up, is part of the grieving process, and can help
Hmm.
jumpstart a lot of these things. And when Jillian and I talk to mothers and fathers of autistic children, there's a certain grief. It's not necessarily the same as loss of a loved one. It's just, why did this happen to my child? And an incredible amount of worry for your child. And that can send you into a loop of doom and worry that, what can I do? But what's going to happen to my child, and what will happen in the future to my child? And
Yeah.
dealing with all of that is a multi-pronged process that requires a
Hmm.
lot of deep breaths and one step at a time, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So tell us about Refrigerator Moms. I noticed you have a logo there in
Yeah,
your bio. We talked about that. About what I said, you should have a refrigerator behind you with a magnet.
you should.
So tell us about your
And a magnet, because
podcast.
you're going to help me. Yes, yes, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to talk about the refrigerator moms. When we started Brain Performance Technologies, I had to get a website. And I had put together a website, and my friend Juliana, who I have known since we were at a My Gym class when our children were very young, 4 or 5 years old, and her son was turned to the wall away from the group, and my son would just scream the word pizza. And I looked at her, and she looked at me, and we knew that these were not neurotypical children. And it started a lifelong friendship, and we had been through so much together. And
Hmm.
she is an editor by trade, and so I asked her to help me edit the website. And we were in my office, and we were working, and a mom came in. Her daughter had gone off to college, a very bright young woman, and had a breakdown in college, couldn't be at college. They had to go pick her up, and they did some diagnostic testing on her, and a late autism diagnosis had followed. And so she was undergoing treatment in the clinic. And the mom came in to introduce herself and thank me for the opportunity to treat her daughter. And she just started to cry. And she was racked with the guilt. Why didn't I see this? My poor daughter. What was I thinking all those years? And Juliana and I sat with her for an hour. And we've all been where we've had a horrible time.
Yeah.
Blame, shame, the guilt game. We had our first paper was called Blame, Shame, and the Guilt Game, because we had all been to where she was. And when she left, Juliana said, "Gee, you should do something about that. That you shouldn't let that. This woman needs help. This you should have a support network." And I said, "Well, it's not something I want to do by myself." And she's okay, then I'll do it with you, because she's my ride or die. So we started the Refrigerator Moms. It took
Right.
us a long time to figure out what we wanted our message to be, how we wanted
Mm.
to be a resource to parents that were dealing with autism. But we came up with the Refrigerator Moms, and it's a podcast and the research papers that we write on topics of neurodivergence and parenting autistic and neurodivergent, or children that struggle with depression, anxiety, any of the things. And you can find us
Huh.
at refrigeratormoms.com. It's been very rewarding.
Nice. Yeah. Having a podcast is
And a
great,
lot of work.
especially it's a lot of work. It is a
It's
lot
a
of
lot
work.
of work. I was going to ask you, do you find that it was more work than you had thought it was going to be?
But since
Yeah.
I'm a techie, I have
Yeah.
developed assistants that help me edit and show notes and do all those things that would take me hours to do in maybe an hour or less.
Oh, okay. So you, yeah.
I'm working to make it so that it's I just feed it and it goes. It's not quite there
Oh, I
yet,
see.
but I'm in the
Right.
development phase. But it's helped me tremendously by doing
Yeah.
that because I didn't really want to hire someone to do it because it's my baby and
Yeah. And
they,
your voice, you can't, yeah. I wanted it to be our
yeah,
voice. I wanted it to be what we had to say, and there's no
yeah.
substitute. You have to, I can't AI my point of view. I have to write my point of view.
Oh yeah. And I use AI to help plan my episodes and all those kinds of things.
Mhm.
But like before we started taping, we need a human in the loop, and that's me. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
approve
Yeah.
everything that every step of the way that goes through my production cycle. But yes, it is a lot of work, but it's pretty rewarding. And I get to meet great
I would
people
agree.
like you. Yeah, it's great. So
Yes,
and
I
I have
agree.
to,
I agree. I agree.
yeah. So you've been on this journey for a number of years. How has this journey shaped the way you lead and build your company and interact with your people?
That's a great question. It has the principles of good business are all the same, right? It's all put person first. It's all be clear in your message, clear communication. We're talking about something very esoteric that not a lot of people know about. How do you teach them about it in the 10 seconds you have to get their attention? That's an ever evolving process, but is the most important thing that we do. And I think growing importance for all of us as we are also distracted with devices and ideas and everything coming at us. Information is coming at us at so many different ways. How do we clearly and concisely communicate what we have to say in a very short period of time?
And has that helped your leadership ability as well?
I think so, because you have to be very clear with people that you work with. You just, the clearer you are, the clearer they will be, the better that they can execute. And that's just
The better outcome you have. Yeah. And
absolutely.
so how has this journey also shaped your family life? And I imagine there's been a lot of ups and downs, but there's got to have been some real rich moments that you've experienced.
It feels really good to be doing something, the opportunity to do well and do good, right? Much better than just to sell a water bottle is fine, but is a water bottle going to make a difference in people's lives? And I want to do something that's going to make a difference, and this is an opportunity to make a difference. I'm forever grateful for the opportunity to tell people about something that might help them, and that
Yeah.
I have to be focused on that guiding principle. How can I help people? What can I do to help people? And I have to just trust that if I am giving people good advice about trying something that might help them, that everything else will flow.
Yeah. That's great. So I've really enjoyed our conversation. We're getting down to the wire here as we wrap up, Kelley. What are three things our listeners can do to put some of these ideas into action?
I appreciate your time and I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you. And with, like you said, we had a 20-minute conversation before we even got started. Three things people can do right now if they are interested in better mental health is try something new, talk to a psychiatrist that understands TMS, maybe read this paper, or don't even take my word for it, do some Google research about TMS, and
Mhm.
try one thing new, even if this is too big to do right now. Try one thing new to start yourself on a better mental health journey.
Okay. And how can people learn more about you and connect with you?
Sure, refrigeratormoms.com or any of our
Right.
social media accounts. It's all under Refrigerator Moms. For Brain Performance
Hmm.
Technologies, we are also on social media. You can find us at brainperformancetechnologies.com, and you can reach out on any of our platforms that way. We are all engaged. We are all here to help and to spread the word. You can also do me a solid favor and tell somebody about TMS.
That's what we're going to do here with this podcast. we're going to
And I
let people know.
appreciate you, and I appreciate the
And
opportunity.
and
All
I
right,
was
thank you. I
thinking of a
appreciate it.
couple of friends that I'm going to refer to refrigerator moms, a mother of an autistic child who's he's nearly, I think he's nearly 30, and his father just passed. And
Oh,
so that's
yes,
really,
please do
really,
refer
really
to.
trouble. Yeah.
I have a colleague in Michigan, Brain Treatment Center, Michigan. You can reach out to them. They're doing great work, and they are TRICARE providers as well. A really great doctor, and she runs the clinic with her husband. And if you are anywhere in Michigan, go check them out.
Awesome. So that was fascinating. Remember, faith and action go hand in hand. So keep the pedal to the metal. Until next time on the Lead Machine Growth Show, I'm Paul Guyan and Kelley Jensen. Thank you so much for coming today and sharing this information with us on TMS and just all the wonderful things that I think that could come from this.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Paul. Have a great night.
Yeah, you too. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to the Lead Machine Growth Show with Paul Guyan, where we show you how to tackle your tech, master your message, and design your dream so that you can transform your vision into reality. Remember to visit our website at www.leadmachinegrowthshow.com and enjoy even more great episodes like this one. Again, while you're here, subscribe to us via your favorite network. We look forward to seeing you next time on the Lead Machine Growth Show.